Live from Brooklyn TV. My name is DJ Anthony Mace. I'm here with a very, very good friend of mine. I've known him a long time. Didn't just meet this dude. Childhood friends. And it's not every day that I would invite or have a conversation like this with a childhood friend because this is extremely unfortunate. But it happened, and unfortunately, my friend Tommy, who you're gonna meet in just a second, lost his eyesight and his vision when he was 25 years old. Tommy, what up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Anthony? It's great to be here and live from Brooklyn Studios. I'm a big fan of your show, bro.
Thank you, man.
I just don't say that because I'm your friend. I listen to your show. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yo, but again, you know, this type of interview, this type of conversation, like, I mean, I've spoken to you over the years, and you know, as a friend, you'd never think that an interview like this would go down with somebody you know, especially, again, it wasn't like you were born this way, and I never expected that, you know, one of my friends, something like this would happen to, and you know, from an outside perspective, we think the worst. Like, I know I do. You know, you just showed me the blind people's MacBook. It has all these, you know, gadgets and designs on it so that you could do what you need to do, and it speaks to you, and it tells you, you know, everything. It translates basically pictures into words and words into voice, and it's something that I feel terrible about, you know. I feel terrible because I know you. You know, I don't mean to sound like a horrible individual, but, you know, a lot of people don't care about people's problems unless they know them personally. So I got to tell you, you know, I know you personally, so this interview kind of messes me up a little bit because, you know, I have to hear your struggle, but at the same time, I'm extremely proud to have this interview with you because as a person with a disability, you're making tremendous strides, and you're showing the world and all your friends and everybody around you that really you can be productive with a disability, and you can still live out your dreams and do what you want to do. So talk about it, man. Again, we've been boys a long time. You're from Staten Island, New York, and you had your eyesight till you were 25, right?
Yep, 25. December 30th, 2003. I went in for my first eye surgery. By January 1st, 2004, they started dimming out. So it's been 9 years. It's what you would claim is a struggle. It is a struggle, but you know, you could stay at home and do nothing. You know, which, trust me.
Well, listen, a lot of people who wish to stay home and do nothing, but I don't think they'd be willing to lose their eyesight to do it.
No, but people would automatically say, Tommy, you know, God, all this. In fact, I'll bring up a story. I was living in Colorado for 4 years. As soon as I lost my sight, I moved out of New York City.
Why? Why would you do that?
I joined the National Federation for the Blind, which is the NFB, and I went to what's called an Independent Training Program Center.
Okay.
The Colorado Center for the Blind in Littleton, Colorado, which obviously Littleton is also noted for Columbine. In fact, my complex was not even a block away from Columbine.
Wow.
But what this program does is it basically, it's like a blind boot camp. But, you know, they don't drill you. They teach you Braille skills, independent travel, computer technology, and life skills, and cooking, and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a 9-month program. You have to be dedicated to it. Obviously, I was willing to do it. My girlfriend at the time had left. She got very depressed. You know, it's very hard to watch someone you love go through that. At first, I was very angry about it, but, you know, we've since then spoke about it, and it's understandable, no hard feelings, but you can't sit there and say, great, you can't rely on people for everything. So you go out there. New York State Commission for the Blind paid for it. I lived on my own for 9 months.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm.
Did you go there because you really wanted to go? Maybe did you have a little heartbreak and that kind of pushed you to really switch what coast you were living on?
No, it wasn't that because I have a lot of friends and we have the same friends.
But we are guys and we know what these girls could do to us.
No, that's true. Yeah. But come to find out, actually, a lot of the story, and I'm going to bring this up. This past year, I had to let go of a lot of friends because the one thing about being disabled and blind, when you look out for your friends, you should not lie to them. And I know you're doing it to protect you, but if you don't have the whole story of why the situation happened and you leave without hearing the story, you could also sacrifice a friendship with the ex because we do have exes that are our friends. And, it was a salvageable friendship that got ruined because people just don't think before they do things. And we'll get into that. But I went because it was an opportunity, okay? It was an opportunity to go somewhere I've been to Colorado once, and to me, it's God's country out there. Mountains cover over, and it's beautiful, and air is crisper, and it's a mile high, and my quality of life was extraordinary.
All right, well, so before you joined the National Federation for the Blind, okay, talk about what started happening. I mean, it's not every day that somebody that someone knows just loses their eyesight. Out of nowhere. Like, what started to happen with you that you knew something was wrong? Well,
before I wanted to be a police officer, and I wanted to go into the force. I couldn't do the fire because I'm a diabetic. They call me Tommy Sugars, nickname, and it's a joke and everything. And and I thought I can't be a cop. But I spoke to recruiters, and I was working at Rockefeller Center doing the security work there. And they told me there are diabetics that join the force. So I said, all right, you know what? I have family in the force, and I'd like to do it. I can do it. And I just kept working. I was getting ready to go to school, get it all ready to go. And you live in Staten Island, take the express buses, and if you're in Midtown, they go through the Lincoln Tunnel. And it was summertime, so when I got out of the tunnel at 6 p.m., it was still light out. But, and you know how when you come out of a tunnel, it's a 5-minute dim, like a 5-second dim.
Right.
This lasted for about 5 minutes to 10 minutes.
Wow.
I brushed it away because it was a 12-hour shift I worked. I did a double for a friend, and I said maybe it's just me. And then I was doing a walk around the promenade area, and blotchiness started coming in my eyes. And, at first I ignored it for a second, but,
Can I ask you a question? What did you, without any medical advice, what did you think to yourself was happening?
Once again, you take your eyesight for granted. So you just said, it's nothing. I got my right eye, And that's exactly what I thought. And then, on the way home, it started getting blotchier and blotchier. I'm like, all right. I knew right off the bat it was something. I gave my 2-week notice and went to the doctor, the eye surgeon, and went to the best hospitals. I went to Columbia Press. I went to Wills Eye in Philadelphia. The hospital that helped me the most, though, was Manhattan Eye, Ear, and Throat. It's on 61st Street, Manhattan.
Okay.
I had 14 eye surgeries, 3 vitrectomies, which is
my God,
remove the oil and the gas from the eye. If you look at my eyes, one is blue, one is
Now,
blue.
how long of a span did all these surgeries happen?
9 months.
14 surgeries in 9 months?
Mm-hmm. God, because the problem with the surgery is your retina detaches, Anthony. You just go for some little minor corrective surgery. Me being a diabetic, what happens is the retina gets put back into place, but the scar tissue blocks the central vision or the peripheral vision. In my case, it was both. And, I could have gone for more, and everybody goes, eye surgeries. Let me explain something to you about eye surgeries. And I'm not trying to be specifically gruesome about this. 14 plus 3 removals of oil with scalpels and stitches in your eye, gauze on your eye, have to keep your head down.
Now, were you able to see throughout that 9 months process, or?
Yeah, it was on and off. I mean, I'll give them credit. They thought after the second surgery I would have they saved my eyesight for a good year, but slowly but surely it was pulling away. And when it's pulling away, all you could do is just sit there and say, I could stay home and keep not doing anything.
Well, before we get there, what did you, when you realized that, I guess after a year, and you knew there was no getting your eyesight back, what was your initial plan towards your life and everything?
I had to do everything new.
Because, again, you said you wanted to be a police officer at first. Like, you knew you wanted to be a police officer. What did Tommy feel like, life was going to be for him, after that?
It's funny. We have the daredevil behind us.
Yes.
That's
you, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm a legal research major. I'm finishing up in spring at City Tech and then going on to probably public office.
Wow.
Basically, what my theory on the whole thing with, one door closes, the other one opens. It took a lot of research to figure out what I could do. But I gotta be honest with you, we have professors out there that are blind.
You're telling me that your mindset wasn't just to lay back and get sympathy about this. You are truly a real daredevil. You actually are going out to pursue your career just as a blind man.
Well, no, that doesn't make me. What people.
But Daredevil was a lawyer, wasn't he?
He was a lawyer, and he was Stan Lee had. It was derived from a true story of a vigilante who was in a wheelchair.
Right.
Stan Lee mixed it around with a blind lawyer who radioactive. And
right.
At nighttime, he was fighting Hell's Kitchen, the villains of Hell's Kitchen.
Right.
The situation that goes into this is that I don't want to sit there and put myself on the pedestal. I was not automatically like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I had to stop and think about what I needed to do. I have a good support structure.
So what were you doing? What were you doing at that time? Were you unsure of yourself?
Like I said, I was in a relationship. We spent a lot. Her name was Diana, and we spent a lot more time together, which I think might have crippled that relationship a little bit because I needed my space, and it's a double-edged sword, a hit and miss, But at the same time, I know there's things I could do out there. My counselor, which is Commission for the Blind, showed me about the Colorado Center, and I got interested. I went to these National Federation for the Blind meetings that we have at the Sellis Tower, which is in Manhattan, in 23rd Street, called Visions. And It's a training center for blind people. And it's basically once a month, every third week on a Wednesday, where blind community, we get together, we talk about things, and I got the niche on doing that.
When you went to Colorado, did you feel a sense of empowerment? Did you feel like it was great to be around people who really, truly understand your predicament?
Well, the first day I was freaking out because I was there by myself and I landed on the weekend. And there was only one person. His name was Merle Shepard, and he was such a nice man. He was in charge of the incoming students.
Right.
And he kept me at ease on things. I freaked out. But the other thing that they've done at these ITP centers, we have one in Minnesota, and we have one in Ruston, Louisiana. And what we do with these independent training centers is that we do all those skills that I mentioned before, but I went rock climbing blindfolded. And the reason why we were blindfolded,
oh my God,
I had some peripheral vision, and they wanted us to get the feel of being totally blind because I wasn't totally blind. I had shadow vision. I had light perception. If you rely on that, that could cripple your independence. You're relying on something when you could be able to use the skills that, I went whitewater rafting on the Arkansas River.
Wow.
Sleep shades and all. They're called sleep shades. And these are not Pocono Jim Thorpe waves. These are hardcore level 5 waves. I went snowboarding. It was a little more.
Now you're naming things that guys with vision with a lot of heart might not even want to do. At any point in time, do you ever get discouraged doing any of those activities? Now that you,
I had options. What's the worst that could happen? I get scared. I mean, everybody gets scared. You know?
No, but it's a little different when people get scared because of their situation. But I mean, you know what you're doing, but you can't even see it. What did your emotions feel like when you were rock climbing or whitewater rafting? Like how does a person without vision feel? How does that affect a person?
I was a little hesitant at first, but then I realized this, and no matter how scared you are, you're doing something, like you said, that sometimes people don't want to do. And it increases your quality of life. It makes you more happy. It makes you more into what you want to do.
I can understand that.
You're a happier person, even if you're scared out of your mind. Why? Because you're doing something.
Well, I've known you a long time. I know your personality. You know, if I close my eyes and think back to 15 years ago, you're the same Tommy that you were 15 years ago. If I'm not looking at you, I wouldn't even realize you were blind because of your personality. Like before, we mentioned that communication. People can communicate to you through Facebook, through the internet, even cell phone. Now, what was the story you mentioned that someone could? Yeah, see, let's.
We have a good friend named Steve Brennan.
Okay.
I've known Steve for about 20 years. I love him to death.
Right, all your life. Okay, go ahead.
But he is a pain in the rear because he loves to mess with me on Facebook.
Now, to anybody,
like he'll say
to anybody else, people might want to feel bad about this, but this is funny, and we should go ahead, tell them. Tell them what Steve does to you.
Instead of saying hi, Tommy, he goes hi with about 50 eyes into it. And
now this thing talks to you and tells you what it says, right?
You come home from school, you come home from a long day, and you sit down at the PC, and you want to get your stuff together, and it pops up, and it's irritating. And like my circle of friends know that it's a joke.
But it's a friendly irritation.
Yeah, my best friend Steve Rich jokes around me all the time. TJ Tommaso jokes around me all the time. But they're also very and I have to instruct them sometimes. I went to Best Buy with TJ Tommaso, and we were just going to check stuff out. And I had some sight at the time, but TJ was very careful. And we're in the Best Buy. I'm walking down the aisle, and I don't see the man in front of me because I can't see that well. But I have my cane. The TJ's not really been around me at that time long enough to know how I'm independently traveling. So this guy's looking at whatever he's looking at, what you look at Best Buy, products or whatever.
Sure.
And I'm walking towards him, and I try to tell my friends not to do this. TJ's just blatantly in front of the entire store. You see my friend blind, move out of the way. He said expletives, but I'm not going to say what it was because I don't want to dishearten TJ. But, these are people.
Everybody has a soft side for you. Everybody wants to make sure you're okay.
It is. But, I do these fundraising, okay? And I wanted to speak about that because this whole bullying thing, okay? I spoke to a woman at the American Disabilities Act. We're trying to get into this bullying thing. I'm 34 years old, okay? I'm not immune to bullying. People do it. People that obviously don't matter in life, so they have to try to matter in your life, would like to bully you. You would not believe that every 5.5 minutes, and every 7 minutes, a child gets bullied. Every 5.5 minutes, a disabled person gets bullied.
Wow.
Okay. 34 years old, I don't bring up a sour subject, but it teaches you why I got involved with the parents of blind children and all this stuff. I was dating a girl. Well, the first thing is how I got into wanting to do fundraising. I have DVDs, and I label them to know what they are, I have audio description and stuff like that. That's what they do now. And what I did was the DVDs that I didn't label, I would just stick them in and label them and see what they did. One was a movie called And the Band Played On. It was in 1993. It was an HBO original movie. It was 4 hours, star-studded cast. It was about the genesis of AIDS and how AIDS started. Not so much what it was, but how at the beginning of it, the lack of funding, the lack of concern, the lack of what goes on, why is it happening, why isn't someone doing something about it. And even though that had nothing to do with my situation of people I'm around, parents of blind children, the ideology was the same, that you have to start it at a 3 education.
Right.
It's just education. You're educating the public. I educate the public every day. I can't tell you, once or twice a week I go to the mall, or I go, if I'm in the city and there's a group of kids and with a teacher. I was in Central Park West 2 weeks ago just taking Gibson up to Strawberry Fields. That's where I take him. 5 or 6 kids. I wound up spending a 22.5 hour instructing them on what Gibson does for me, my guide dog Gibson. It's constant with blind.
Gibson is Tommy's seeing dog,
he's my seeing eye dog.
Taking a nap right now.
He's taking a nap, but the education's out there. It's not hard to put the word out there, you know. But like I said about this whole, you know, why I get involved in this is, I think with the whole bullying and you can imagine, you know, like, and this is, like I said, that's how I got started with the, you know, that. I mean, and the Band Played On was. I
mean, it's a double negative. You're talking about blindness and bullying.
And the Band Played On.
Right.
Put parents of blind children. We really don't deal with the bullying aspect. I researched the bullying, and I brought this up on the Vinnie Vella show about and the Band Played On, because we're friends. I'd like to bring up a personal issue. A year ago, I was dating a young girl, my age. She had a 6-year-old daughter. I was with her for about 4 months.
Was she blind?
No, she was sighted.
Okay.
4 months, but I've known her family for years, and you know.
Okay.
And what got me motivated was she had obviously, which is a lot of things, messy breakup with the dad, and you know, all about child support, whatever the situation was with that. This person lost custody of her daughter after we broke up, and I'm going to explain why. This is what I don't understand about the public. It's because the perception is that people, a normal person will say, look at this mother with 3 blind kids, you know, single. I know a woman who's blind, has 3 children, special needs. Her husband walked out on her, and she's still going strong, and she's working her butt off to take care of those kids. There is no excuse. I obviously was intimately involved with her, so I know the situation front and end. It's a lack of laziness on parenting, and I'm not a parent, but I have 2 sisters. I have 5 nephews. I see how they raise my nephews. Okay? It doesn't take a genius to know how to raise a child. Now, these are parents of blind children. I know children that are blind and deaf. I've met parents of blind children. I travel the country for the conventions. Blind, deaf, and autistic. Blind, deaf, and in a wheelchair. And even though it would be wrong to say it, some people will say, wow, I'm surprised that parent isn't losing her mind right now and not taking the easy way out. Of course, they wouldn't, because that's called bravery. That's called smartening up and knowing that this is in front of you. There is no excuse for losing custody of a child because of laziness. I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm not a parent, but that's my opinion.
Well, just like bullying, we can't control, you know, everything that goes on in the society.
And that's the whole, you know, and I just really got into this bullying. I mean, after we broke, I mean, very immature.
But I don't understand what bullying has to do with that.
I'll tell you right now. Minute is that's the parents of the blind children, you know, and how I perceived that. And to prove the immaturity of this person, I would get, I got like 40 messages. These are people our age, Anthony, and it's just disgusting. She had no future with you because you're blind. You know, all sorts of nonsense. I mean, they discriminated against, they made fun of my dog. I mean, these are people, and I could say, wow, really angry. But that just drives me more.
I'm gonna say that I understand what you're saying as far as the bullying aspect, but that's a little different. That's a little different of story. Because
it's a pattern.
But only because I don't mean to switch you up like that. But again, you were intimately involved with the woman that the kid has children with, correct?
Yeah, she has a child, one child.
So you were kind of shoplifting the pootie, if you know what I'm saying.
No. Absolutely not.
Even a blind man, you're a dangerous man. Look at you.
No, I didn't. The way I do things is I very cautious now. I was warned by friends, it's one thing when the girl gets warning about the guy, because we all get that stigma, oh, that guy's this or this guy's that. But I was not smart enough, and that's where I come into relationships.
Well, that's the power of the female.
Exactly.
They make you think that it's the other way around.
What wants to get me is that it was two things in this relationship that pushed me to the parents of the blind children, and I just researched on the ADA anti-bullying campaign. Instead of bowing out and just admitting you're wrong, get your friends to bully me. And I could not believe, I thought I was in 5th grade, and I could have said, wow, that person really hurt my feelings.
And
you know what?
That's a sad thing right there.
Yeah, but you know what? It didn't. I forwarded all those messages to the anti-bullying on the ADA, to do a pattern. They like to do research. They like to do research. That's the thing. And, and like I said, it was intertwined with that. So that's what made me get into it. We have a Be a Star program out there for just bullying students within students. But you have to understand, anti-bullying, and now there's for the ADA. And I can tell you right now, I'm almost certain there are a lot of blind children out there that get bullied. I'm hoping there isn't, but because
there's some sad people in this world, man.
And I want to work to intertwine things with that. But the parents of blind children, our number one goal, and to get off the bullying subject, is that right now the schools, the New York City higher education, don't want to have the children learn Braille. Now, that's our big goal right now, Braille literacy. They would rather shell out thousands of dollars. That's like me telling you, Anthony, you can't read a book anymore. We got this nice technology that'll read the book for you. Right. Braille is like a language to us. We had Spanish, Italian, and French in high school and in college. And you know what? You have sign language in college, but we don't have Braille to teach other. They don't want it. And what's funny about the whole Braille literacy with the parents of blind children is the teachers learning Braille. This is a lot cheaper than going out and buying a nice little iPad for $300 for each student and telling them we're going to teach you this way.
So they kind of want you to know it when you have to know it.
The New York public school system, as we know it right now, thinks that Braille is archaic. And archaic is a word, old. No, it's not. It's used every day. I use Braille every day.
Is there newer technology then?
Instead of Braille? But the whole point is, Anthony, these kids have to learn Braille. Right. It's a part of, if you're blind, it's a part of your life.
But again, there's a lot of things that were. Is there something else besides Braille that they're intending on using now?
Yeah, there's audio, but the problem is it also takes away the children's ability to learn Braille. We want them, you can.
But things become obsolete, though. Do you think that in the future Braille's really going to be around if voice recognition works for everything?
No, I don't think it's going to be. It's going to that because it's got nothing to do with, this is new technology. It's the New York public school system doesn't want to put effort into it.
You're a smart guy. We know this, and it's good to know everything, but isn't it a convenience for you? I mean, you said you get Facebook messages, you get phone messages, all through voice recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not voice recognition. I type. and I have a program that types. It's called a screen reader.
You type and it says what you're typing?
Yeah, it says exactly what you're saying.
Wow.
But Braille is used every day in our life. Like, they're telling, people that do sign language, oh, you don't need to do sign language. We got this better idea. What if that person's used to doing sign language? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And Braille, I learned in 3 months, grade 1 and grade 2. It's only hard if you don't put effort into it. But
like anything else?
These kids need to learn Braille. It's, today when I came into I gave Anthony, because Anthony had us on the show, and I want to reward Anthony, which Louis Braille learned. He created the Braille language at 12 years old. Okay? We have a commemorative coin. This is how important Braille is to us, that NASA, on May of 2009, put the Braille coin in the Space Shuttle Atlantis and flew it up there. They don't just do that for anybody.
Thank you for my gift. I definitely appreciate it. It's definitely it came in a United States Mint box, and the coin itself it says valued at $1, United States of America, and it does have the Braille imprint right in the middle. This is dope. I appreciate this. Thank you.
No, it's no problem, and it's very important. It's almost like telling someone, well, you don't need to read that book. I mean, sooner or later, Barnes and Nobles is going to be crashing down. It's good, but it's just it's something. It's a part of life. It's like walking. Yeah, you can walk down. You can get this nice little gadget where it could stroll you down to the corner. But wouldn't you like to get up and walk just to take a nice walk?
So Tommy Needham, Tommy Sugars, Big Tom, close friend of mine for a long time. Grew up in the clubs. Originally, I tell everybody this, my network is live from Brooklyn TV because Brooklyn saved my life, but my life began in Staten Island. That's where me and Tommy met. And, we were in the club scene together and hanging out. And also, this interview, anytime I do an interview, I try to bring as much fun out as I could and just good spirits and stuff. But, this is just, again, another part of life, just, the way we say things happen. And just like Tommy, we have to all learn how to deal with things the best way we can. When we were probably around what? You're about 2 years older than me, so you were 20 when it happened with Jay? And
yeah.
I was definitely, I think I was 18 years old. So when I was 18, me and Tommy were very, very close with a good friend of ours, Jay Rodriguez, a.k.a. Jay Rugged. He was our boy, and he passed away when we were 18 years old. And that was something that me and Tommy dealt with together. And also, Tommy being here today is a special day because 13 years ago today, we buried our friend. And, there's not a day that goes by, Tom, that, I don't think of Jay. I think of him all the time. After everything with Jay, I remember I DJ'd something. I forget what we were. I think it was on Forest Avenue in Staten Island. Yeah. And we had. Do you remember we had that big party afterwards for Jay?
Yeah.
And
Atlantis.
Yeah, maybe it was Atlantis. Then.
I did the speech.
Okay. At Atlantis.
Yeah.
Then. And yeah, man. We knew that Jay was big on the music. He loved hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I was DJing and he was there was always, yo, Mace, put this track on for me, right? Look, see, Tom's smiling, I'm smiling. That's what it's about.
He was a Mobb Deep, Locks, Rough Riders.
Exactly.
Anything that had the beat in the year 1999 to 2000. It was anything that was good, really good. And I did a fun. Speaking of Jay. We did a fundraiser at Play Sports Lounge, and I'm doing another fundraiser on October 19th. I believe it's a Friday or Saturday, where we're having a hockey fundraiser.
Right.
For where the money's going to go for the parents of blind children of New York.
Okay.
Play Sports Lounge on Annandale Road.
Right. Staten Island.
Carmine, who's the owner. I went to junior high school with Carmine. The professionalism, the way they go out of their way to help people at that place. We raised about $1,000 that night. We had Vinny Vella. If anybody don't know who Vinny Vella was Artie Piscano in Casino, and he's like my common law uncle. His family's known me my whole life. He was the underboss in Casino, and he came and he, you know, did comedy, and it was just great to have it that night. And what we're doing October 19th, we're having a hockey fundraiser to be announced sometime in December. And what we're doing on October 19th is at Play Sports Lounge. We'll charge about $35 at the door, and the proceeds will go to the ice time and the hockey jerseys. It's going to be in memory of my coach Rick Welsh and Elaine Rink, who was an NFB, a New York NFB member, and it's just coincidental her last name is Rink, which makes it good.
It does?
Yeah, it does. Elaine
Which
Rink
makes it good.
Elaine Rink was such a beautiful woman, and
right.
she you know, I want to get into, but right after I speak about parents of blind children, we have a president, Maria Garcia. She has a 16-year-old daughter named Laura. I have a 5-year-old goddaughter named Faith Schweitzer in New Mexico, who's my goddaughter. She's blind. I work very close with these kids. I go to the conventions. One thing I'll tell you about being blind since losing my sight, I travel more times all over this country than I ever did sighted. I've done more things traveling than I look at these little conventions as also vacation time. When I went to Louisville, Kentucky, I made sure to go to Cassius Clay's house, Muhammad Ali. I made sure to go to Louisville Slugger house. I think I'm the only person at the Dallas convention that went to where JFK got shot. No one wanted to go, and I have no idea why. But I'm, and these are life experiences that I got through this organization. This organization has helped me, but parents of blind children is the important one for me because, if you meet these little kids that are blind, they've got the world on a string. That it's like I see people complaining, and even me myself, I get upset about things like this. And I look at these kids who are blind from birth, and they have not a care in the world. They're happy, and Maria Garcia and me work very close together on doing these fundraisers for parents of blind children.
Again, I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to go into something. I want to make sure we have enough time for it. Again, our good friend Jay Rugged, 13 years ago today, I just want to do a track for him, pay respects to our friend. And we're going to take a break with Tommy. We'll be right back, live from Brooklyn TV, Tommy Needham. Good story to tell, man. Let's go. Jay Rugged, rest in peace. We love you and miss you, buddy.
Love you, Jason.
Love you, man.
Whoa.
time that I saw Jay, he was like, "Yo, Mace, you got to throw on that Wildin' Out joint. You got to throw on that Wildin' Out." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I got you. Don't worry about it." And I remember playing it for him specifically, like back then. That track. Who?
Never plays that music, so you knew it was really big.
Yo, the thing is that how many times I played that song, but no matter what, I always think of Jay when I play it, man. That's Jay's song.
I got a funny story before we commence. Jason died on August 20th. August 19th was Beatstock 2000.
Right.
I spent most of the day with Jay and everybody from South Beach in the buildings. And Steve Rich is my best friend, worked for KTU, and of course I got passes. So Jay didn't have a pass at first. They got one later, but he didn't have one first. And I was getting a soda because I don't drink alcohol. Never did. And Jay comes up to me and goes, "Where you going?" I was like, "Well, I'm going to meet Steve over behind the stage. I'm going to come with you." I'm like, "Jay, where's your pass?" He's like, "I don't got one." I was like, "Well," he's like, "Let me see." He's like, No, here's what we'll do. And I'm like, "All right, here's what we'll do. You're a diabetic." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, me and you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I go with you, and I say, like, I'm your nurse or something." I'm like, and I was 21 at the time. Yeah, I just turned. I was like, and I look very I am very healthy looking, but like, he was almost making it look like I had to be brought in on an iron lung, and in order for me to even go through with my legit pass, I had to take Jay with me.
Right.
And we had Gaetano Brandt, who's lives in South Beach, and he was covering the door. And I guess he was getting watched by. He's like, and then he walks away, and this new security comes up, and Jay goes, "Listen, this is my friend Tommy Sugars. He's a diabetic. That's why we call him Sugar. I got to stay with him." And the guard's like, "Okay." He's like, "He's a diabetic, so if anything happens to him, I'm responsible. I take care of him." And he got in, but he was in and out. So obviously he got a pass later on, but I got one of the last picks of him. I keep that stored in a safe because I don't want to even put it was one of the last picks between me and him, and it was and then 7 hours later get a phone call from good friend Lauren Resnikoff and Richie Parada, three-way. Never call me. I tell them, don't call my phone past 2 in the morning unless someone's passed away. And Dave's like, "Have you?" Well, like, "No," and they told me, and the next day was just full of melancholy, despair, confusion. But for every dark hour, there's a silver lining, and the silver lining is that he lives with all of us, and we have lost so many people, and this suicide, it's sad, and I'm a perfect example of take life as you take it. Trust me, if there are people out there that are a little dark that said, "Man, if Tommy killed himself after finding out he was losing his sight, everybody would understand." And I'll be honest with you, I had that for about a second, but then I realized I'd probably meet Jay up there, and we'd be brawling, which is something I don't want to deal with, and he'd probably wouldn't let me into the gates with St. Peter and probably pull up some cons and get out. This kind of nonsense I didn't want to deal with.
Rest
Even
in
in
peace,
the afterlife,
Jay Rugged.
I don't want to deal with the headache. So,
Jay, we miss you, and
we love you very much, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yeah, for sure, man. And Tom, while you're here, I want you to continue to keep doing great things, and these organizations that you work with.
Yeah, I'm going to mention them.
It's definitely a positive message for everybody, for people with vision or not. Going to just give them their recognition so people can know who you deal with. And all their websites and stuff like that.
Okay. First is Parents of Blind Children. You could go to blindnewyorkers.org, click on the POBC link. You could email me at returnofof sugaz@gmail.com. I work with also Jamie DeBono. Well, first, before Jamie DeBono, we have upstate presence for POBC, which is Brooke Jensen and Jessica Brown. And in the tri-state area, we have Maria Garcia for the National Federation for the Blind Parents of Blind Children. Jamie DeBono and perfectlyperfect.org is an organization for peer through life-altering problems. I work for a company called tjcicero.com, along with Tommaso D'Onofrio and Frank Cicero of MTV fame. I am the chief consultant for the fundraising events that we do all over. And I mentioned October 19th, 2 Stadium Avenue, Play Sports Lounge. I'll have more information if you email me. You can go to POBCNY on Facebook and check it out, or POBCNNY. And the next and last is a very big thing. It's the Bailey House, and the Bailey House will be September 27th, Friday, and it will be at LQNY on 47th in Lexington. It's the Bailey House is an organization, and that helps with indigent and homeless people that live with AIDS and HIV. And we have a wonderful crew. Nicole from Candy Colors Creations has worked with us. We have bactalent@gmail.com or bc@bactalent.com. His name is Brandon Cohen. If you want to get ideas on what to help out or do donations or get tickets, you can go to 3amediaonline.com/Bailey and we have $20 tickets, and you'll meet celebrities. Fran Drescher, your sister, will be there. Justin Bartha from The Hangovers, honorary chair. Celebrities will be doing raffles and auctions, and it's just a great night. And I want to thank Anthony, a close friend, my fan, for having me. And
I hope everybody out there enjoyed this and got a little insight on yourself, but more importantly, the way it works and the mind behind someone who lost their vision and is blind, and the way they operate on a daily basis. But before we close out, I want you to just give a message to the people out there, anybody who sees this, what it takes to stay positive in a life like yours.
Thank you, Anthony, and God bless you, and love one another, and treat one another with respect, and and go for yours. And trust me, you work, and even if you have to scratch and crawl, you'll get there. And you might have a door lock on you a couple of times, but no one says you can't pick the lock. So
that's right. That's a good attitude to have, right?
We're in Brooklyn, and I was born here, and Anthony, so we just pretty much.
So you feel like you could do anything. You're in Brooklyn, you're ready to go.
You'll be all right.
So no matter what, keep going. That's the message. No matter what, keep going.
That's all you got to do. I mean, hey, I have bumps in the road too. We all have bumps in the road. I'm writing a book right now.
Like I said, you just gave me my props, but I want you to speak and let the people know out there. Anybody who's watching you. Well, tell them what it takes to keep a positive attitude when you're blind.
It keeps a very positive attitude. What I'm writing a book right now, and I'm doing a treatment with Vinny, a movie treatment about blindness. That's in the works. So, but that's I don't have to do that. I do it because I want to do it, and doing it gets me motivated. And
to keep going and do other things.
Yeah, I have Ann Cunningham is my publisher, so in Colorado. So we're working hard on it, but you know what? We got all this stuff we got to take care of first to help other people. That will come in the end part.
And before we go, you are single, so any ladies out there who are interested, tell them where to reach you. I'm
not throwing myself out there, but it's.
But if a female thinks, hey, he's a great guy, I'd love to connect with him, would you want to talk to her?
Yeah, it's just no chaos. I mean.
It's better.
Yeah, just Please.
Well, then no.
I have a CNI dog.
So then no females from Staten Island contact Tommy. Anywhere else in the world, maybe.
I have a CNI dog. Okay.
Why he'll bite her if she's bad?
No, he's very calm. I don't need him being mentally unstable. So,
yeah.
All right, Anthony. I guess.
Tommy, it's been a pleasure, man. Keep doing everything that you're doing, and we'll see you later, man.
All right.
Tommy Needham. Check out all those websites and places that you could help out. Leave a donation. DJ Anthony Mace live from Brooklyn TV. We're out. Later.